Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you how to make a pretty easy card with the new In the Moment stamp set from Stampin' Up! This stamp set just came out in our January to June 2022, isn't that crazy, catalog. And by the way, I hope you're having a wonderful new year. I love this stamp set. In the past, I've been a little bit hesitant to buy stamp sets that have this much coloring involved, and I've kind of looked at them and thought, well, you color it once, and then what else is there to do? Turns out there's a lot else that you can do. I mean, just coloring it, you can change the colors. You can change it from a vertical card to a horizontal card. You can make it a 1-layer, a 3-layer. You can do so many things. You can put it in a frame. And just, again, just coloring. You can color it with pastels. You can use blending brushes. You can use watercolor. You can use watercolor pencils. You can use Stampin' Up! Markers. You can use Stampin' Blends. And you can heat emboss and use a chalk marker. Like, there's so many things that you can do. We're not going to get that fancy today. I'm keeping it pretty simple. I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve, but I'm really excited about this one. I love the sentiments on this card. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm a sucker for good sentiments. This one says, "You're in my thoughts." It has a stamp that says, "You're always so good to others, be good to yourself," which I love. And it also says, "Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is relax." I think we all have a hard time remembering that sometimes, but it's so, so true. So, and stamping is one of the ways that I relax. So I get to relax a lot. I'm rather spoiled. All right, let me flip the camera around so that you can see my desktop. I don't really flip my camera. I cheat. I have 2 cameras, so I just click a button. So here's that set again, and we're going to be using this stamp and this stamp. So the first thing that I'm going to do is get a 4" by 5¼ piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm gonna get that sentiment stamp that I like with the relax. I don't know if y'all just heard that. My daughter just got home from work. Very handy. She's home a little bit earlier than I expected her, but I'm glad that she is here. Okay, so I am just stamping. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just stamping the top part of the sentiment. I don't want to get any ink on that relax. So yep, that looks good. I think, well, I say that looks good. Look right there, there's a little bit. So I'm just going to use my thumbnail and hopefully clean that off without cleaning off the end. It looks like there's still a little bit more there. So if you're ever worried that you're going to have a smudge, you can always use it just the very, like, fold a paper towel in half and use the very corner of it. Or grab a Post-it note, just a small Post-it note, and cover up the part that you're not wanting to stamp. I'm a little nervous about this now. Let's see what happens. Perfection. Okay, so I got that little blip off. I said, let me chase in my Minto ink. So I'm going to ink this stamp now with the puppy. Up with that same Memento ink. I think I got some, yep, sure did. I got some on my thumb. I'm notorious for getting ink on my fingers and then getting it all over my project. It's very frustrating. Okay, so I'm just making sure that this is nice and stamped. Don't want to rock that stamp at all because I don't want any ink that might be on the corners of the stamp. All right, that looks good. So it's time to color, and I'm kind of excited about this. This isn't something, I don't think it's anything I've done before. I am using I'm using watercolor pencils, and I'm going to color real lightly. I'm going to start, and this is watercolor pencils assortment 1. They're all out of the same assortment. So I'm using Calypso Coral just very lightly on her face, her ear, and her fingers. And then I'm going to use Early Espresso again, pretty lightly on her hair. And then I'm going to use this basic gray, also lightly, and I'm going to color the pillow, the blanket. There's a lot of blanket here. I'm going to color that. I think she's got it wrapped all the way around her here, so. Not coloring the puppy. All dogs are puppies to me, even if they weigh 150 pounds. They are puppies. We have 2 Chihuahuas who obviously are puppies, even though they are about to be, let's see, this year in May, they will be 13 and 14 years old. But to me, they will always be puppies. Their names are Peanut and Butter. We call them Peanut Butter when we're hollering for both of them, which we rarely have to do because they are very much lap dogs. They are super sweet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and color her socks. And I think that this is her, we're going to call them yoga pants. I think that's what's happening right here. First I thought it might be part of the blanket, but I don't think so. I think it's her britches. So just coloring those, and remember I'm keeping everything super duper light because in just a second I'm gonna switch to Stampin Blends. So I'm starting with the dark Flirty Flamingo, and I'm gonna give her a Flirty Flamingo pink mug. So you can pretend like whatever your favorite drink is in this mug. I'm going with some hot tea. Hot tea is my favorite. And then I'm using Night of Navy to color her book. And I'm just coloring the cover. I'm not going to color the pages. I like doing this because it, I feel like using the blends to color these few things makes it stand out a little bit more and makes you go, oh yeah, those things do make me relax. Cuddling with my puppy or my cat. We have a cat that thinks she's a puppy. He's not a she, he's a he. He very much thinks he's a puppy. He'll fetch sometimes. He'll walk on the leash when he wants to, but the thing that he does a lot, consistently, always, is he'll sit for a treat. He sits for a treat better than our Chihuahuas do. He really likes his treats. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But I like doing this because I think it helps these things to stand out more. And I say I like doing this. I really think this is the first time I've ever done this, but it's not going to be the last. Especially with this stamp set. So for the dog, I'm using Crumb Cake. But of course you can use whatever color you have that you like. I used the light Crumb Cake for that little spot on his face. And then the rest of him, I'm using this dark Crumb Cake. And you can use whatever tip you like. I'm using the pointy tip, but you can also use the brush tip. And I forgot a step. So when I use watercolors, I almost always go back over it with my blender pen. And I like to start with the lightest color and then go darker. And this is just normal basic white cardstock. It's not special watercolor or the shimmery cardstock. So I don't want to go over the same spot too much because then it'll get the cardstock too wet and I don't want it to start disintegrating. So I'm just going it over it real lightly and blending all this gray together. So I'm gonna be really interested to see what y'all think of using blender pens and watercolor pencils. Look at that, I forgot to color his ear. So glad that I'm going back and doing this now because I would not have seen that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go and do her hair because it's the darkest. If I was not going dark to light or light to dark like that, I would have switched in between. But I've got gray in my hair, so if she gets gray in her hair, that's okay. All right, let me get that dark crumb cake and go ahead and fix that little ear. There we go. So, easy breezy so far, right? The last thing that I'm going to do is find my scrap of Night of Navy cardstock. Hope I found it. It was right here earlier. There it is. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to get that sentiment stamp again. I'm going to grab my chamois. I'm so excited. So I've had this chamois for probably 2 years, maybe more. And it's holding up. It's really holding up pretty good, but I finally decided it was time to buy a new chamois. So I ordered one this week and I am looking forward to getting that brand new chamois in the mail. Well, not the mail. UPS will be bringing it. They'll be bringing me a box. And I can't wait. I love getting new Stampin' supplies in the mail or in the big brown truck. Okay, so all we really need is this one word, relax. And I'm going to heat emboss it. So I'm using my Versamark pad. But I'm going to fussy cut it too. So if I get a little bit more inked up than just this one word, it's not a big deal. I'll just cut around it. Okay. So I'm just going to stamp that on the end of this cardstock. And then find the lid for my Versamark. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my little tray here and my white embossing powder. And I'm just gonna cover that one word real good. I'm gonna kind of give it a little shake. I missed the tip of the L, so I'm gonna go back over. Give it another little shake. I'm going to shake it the other way, and I'm going to shake it back. I'm going to do that L one more time. That looks great. It looks mostly great. I think I'm being a little too picky. Okay, so it's covered pretty good with white embossing powder. So I'm going to take my heat tool and set that real quick. There you go. I don't know if you can tell, but it has melted all together very nicely. So now I'm going to get my paper snips and just trim around that. There we go. I have a weird point here above the L. It's kind of close to those other letters, so just need to clean that up a smidge. And we're good to go. And that is really all there is to putting this card together. So I have a basic white card base. This is a thick cardstock, not the normal basic white. It is the thick basic white. So it's cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2 inches so that I could fold it in half easy. Then, of course, I'm using my liquid glue because it's my favorite. This one I think I left open too long. I need to clean the tip. Oh, there we go. That was greatness. Okay, so I'm just going to center this up on the front of the card and get it as straight as I can. Then applying some liquid glue to the back of this one. And I'm going to center it up on the knot of navy. Make sure your cardstock here is facing the right way. I have too many times to admit putting things together upside down. It's very frustrating. Okay. Then I'm going to take this Relax, and I have mini Stampin' Dimensionals. These smaller ones are quite handy for things like this. So I'm just sticking 3 of those on the back of the sentiment. I end up with Stampin' Dimensional backings everywhere. It's crazy. So I'm just going to put this right under her and kind of over to the right. And there we go. There's our card. So let me know what you think about that. I like cards like this. They're quick, they're easy, they're simple, but they're also impactful. So I know I would like to get a card like this in the mail, and I'm sure going to be excited to send it to someone soon. So if y'all have any questions about coloring or about the new mini catalog or Celebration, remember during Celebration, if you're in the US, every $50 you spend, you get to pick a Celebration item. There are 5 or 7, let me see, items that are free with a $50 purchase. And then there's 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes, there's 7 that are free with a $50 purchase. And then there's 2 that are free with a $100 purchase. And then there's another one if you host a party and your sales reach $300, then you get that set just added on, which is fun. Or if you have a really big wish list and you decide to buy it all, well, then you should probably just go ahead and join, which I'd be happy to talk to you about that too. But if you decide not to join, then, and you really do want to make an order that big, then you get the Host rewards, just like you were having a party. You'll get to pick that many celebration items, and you'll get that free stamp set for being a host. Even if you're your own host, that's fine. All right, so if y'all have questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. And other than that, that's all I've got for you today. So, oh, 2 more things. Thing 1, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give me that thumbs up, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. That makes my day every time that thing goes off. And if you would like to, you can join me live on Thursdays, 6 p.m. Central Time, over on my Facebook group, or my Facebook page is where I go live. So I would love to have you join me for that. And I'll leave the link in the description. So hope you have a wonderful week. Happy stamping!